RTO here. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to another week. What have we got for you today? Well, we're kicking off this week with a look at British heavy metal band Diamond Head. They were all a part of the new wave of British heavy metal, and they sort of didn't really quite make it, unfortunately. They were in bands like Megadeth and Metallica said there was an important early influence on them, which is pretty cool to hear. Formed in 1976 in Starbridge in England. They were formed by Sean Harris, Brian Tatler, Colin Kimberley and Duncan Scott. They released 9 albums, and one of them is a remake. We'll go on to that when we get to it. I've had some band changes, of course, and I'll go through them as we go along. So let's get started. Coming in at number 9 is their third album, released in 1983, Canterbury. This album is pretty, I don't know how to describe it. It's got some good stuff on it and it's got some bad stuff. Alright, I'm not very organised, that's better. It's not as their best. Let's have a look. First track on the album is Making Music. I do like this one, it's very solid. Good rock track. Then we get Out of Phase. It's okay, but it seems to get lost in itself, if you get what I'm saying. It starts off okay and then it goes, oh, well, what do we do next? Not the best track, but it's still listenable. The Kingmaker. Again, it's okay. It's not a bad track. It just hasn't got no identity. Some nice guitar work in it and that, but it just doesn't do anything really. One More Night, it's okay. To the Devil His Due. This is neither here or there. It's not a rock song, it's not a folk song, it's not a pop song. It's 6 minutes too, and I don't know, it just meanders. King of the Swords. This isn't too bad. Probably the best track from the album. It has got a little bit of it's a metal song, but it's not the best they've done, but it's okay, and probably is the best on the album. Ishmael. Not my cup of tea at all. I don't know what they were thinking. I Need Your Love. I've just put no, because it's not a very good track. And the title track, Canterbury, is pretty good. It's got that feel. I don't know if they were trying to go for that Canterbury scene sort of feel to it, but I don't know. It is the worst album they put out, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 8, jumping a gun a bit. This is the 7th album, released in 2016, and it's the self-titled Diamond Head. This is the first album to feature Ramus Anderson on the vocals, and you've got Brian Tatler on the guitar, Andy Aberley on rhythm, Eddie Moohan on bass, Carl Wilcox on drums. First track, Bones. Not a bad track actually. It's pretty solid, nice rocker. Shout at the Devil. I like the riffs in this, and the bass line isn't too bad either, but what lets it down is the vocal arrangement. it needed to be a little bit boosted a little bit, because he hasn't got a bad voice. It just, the production on that song, his voice doesn't come through as strong. Set My Soul on Fire. This is a good track. Driving riffs, nice bass line, very, very Diamond Head. But again, it's them vocals sort of lets them down. See You Rise, it's okay. All the Reasons You Live, again, mediocre rock track. Wizard Sleeve, nice track, nice riffs, solid, and the vocal is not too bad. Much better than the previous 5 songs. Our Time Is Now, this is a great track, my favourite on the album. Classic Brian Tatler riffs, and the Ramos's voice isn't too bad. I'll give him that one. It sounds a lot better. Speed. With a name like that, you expect something driving, fast, heavy, but it isn't. It just lacks that beef, lacks that. You know what I mean? Lacks that. If it had a bit more beef, it'd be a great track. Blood on My Hands, solid track. Very good performance all round, even the vocals sound okay. Diamonds. Again, this could be a really good track, but the arrangement and the production on the vocals, very weak. Very. It doesn't make. It's hardly there. You can hardly notice it. Silence. Great riffs, great sound, poor vocals. Unfortunately, it sort of lacked a little bit of fire, and the production on the vocals is not brilliant. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Coming in at number 7 then, the second album, Borrowed Time, released in 1982. This of course will feature Sean Harris on the vocals, Brian Tatler on guitars, Colin Kimberly on the bass, and Duncan Scott on the drums. Again, this is a bit of a hit and miss album. Got some good tracks on it. In fact, all the tracks are good, but it's what album. We'll go through it and you'll see what I mean. First track, In the Heat of the Night, solid track, really good Diamond Head rocker from the time. Great solo from Brian, can't knock that one at all. To Heaven from Hell, do like these riffs. The bass line from Colin Kimberly is terrific. It's hard, it's heavy, it's dirty, and it drives the song. Call Me, great rocker. Really, really good song. And then for some reason we get Lightning the Nations. Why? I don't know. I've got it on the first album, why do I need it on the second? Then we get Borrowed Time. Great track. My favourite track off the album, title track. Again, that bass line is such a driving force to this song, and Brian Tatler works his magic round it. Fantastic track. Don't You Ever Leave Me, great track, solid as you like. And then we get Am I Evil? Why? As I said, the new tracks on here are fantastic, but why did they have to put 2 tracks from the previous album? I don't know. Were they lacking ideas? I don't know. But for the tracks that are new, I give it an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, coming in at number 6. This is the 4th album, released in 1993. It was the first album in 10 years, but there's only 2 members of the original band left, Sean Harris and Brian Tatler. Then you've got Pete Vudovic on the bass, Carl Wilcox on the drums, so he makes his, I think, his first appearance on drums. This is, this reunion of Diamond Head didn't last. One of the major things that was for this was during the Death and Progress tour, Diamond Head opened at Milton Keynes for Metallica and Megadeth, and Sean Harris came out dressed as the Grim Reaper, which Brian Tatler reported in the British rock music magazine Classic Rock. Harris was saying that the new wave of British heavy metal was over. They opened up with Am I Evil and ended up with Helpless, both off their debut album. As they thought it would go down well with Metallica fan base. However, Diamond Head had not been around for such a long time. Metallica had covered it, obviously, and the crowd just couldn't understand it. I mean, it was reported that they thought that Diamond Head were taking the mickey out of Metallica. Metallica fans, do your homework, guys. I mean, I love Metallica, but I knew when I saw Am I Evil, oh, they've done a version of Diamond Head. But there you go. Some good tracks on this album, though. Starcrossed, Lovers of the Night, solid track, great riffs. Songs actually written by Sean Harris, Brian Tatler, and a certain Tony Iommi. Wonder where he came from. Second track, Trucking, great trucking song, great riff. Calling Your Name, The Light, sounds a little bit like Kingdom Come, which is quite he sounds like Lenny Wolf in this. Or does Lenny Wolf try and sing the sound like Sean Harris? Who knows? It's a good track though. I can't help myself. Love this, great rocker. Really is a great rocker. It's a shame this band didn't last, because this album is pretty solid. Paradise, solid track. Dust, not a bad rocker. Then we get Run, and I'd say this is the weakest track on the album. It's not a rock track. It's a bit more poppy. Wild in the Streets, great little rocker, that one. Got some driving riffs in there. Brian Tatler on fire. Damnation Street, best track on the album. It's got a killer bass line, and then the riffs come in, and Harris's vocals are fantastic. Probably the best vocals that he ever done on a Diamond Head track. Fantastic. And then the album run ends up with a little track called Home. Nice little track to end the album. Great album, solid. I'll give it an RTO ranking of 5.8. Okay, coming in at number 5. 9th album, and it's Lightning to the Nations, the 2020 version. This features Carl Wilcox on drums, Andy Aberley on the rhythm guitars, Ramsam Anderson on the lead vocals, Dean Ashton on bass, and of course Mr. Brian Tatler. Okay, musically, it sounds a lot better. You know, they've taken them classic songs and just revamped them, and they really do sound good. But what sort of lacks it is the vocal. I don't think they got it right on some of the tracks, but on some of them they didn't. Like the opening track, Lightning to the Nations, sounds fantastic, but the vocal just doesn't fit. I don't know what, he just can't sing it. Sorry. The Prince, Love this song anyway. It's not a bad version of it actually. The guitar solo is fantastic. I'd say it's just a tad better than the original. Sucking My Love, classic song, solid version. Am I Evil? Musically, it sounds fantastic. But Ramos can't sing this at all. Obviously Sean Harris is the best. Nick Tart didn't do a too bad job of singing this when he sang it on stage, but Ramos Anderson, he's got a great voice, but it's not, he can't sing that one for Toffee. Sweet and Innocent, great version of this, really is solid, and the vocal is pretty good on it. It's Electric, very good version. Helpless, this is a lot heavier, but what lets it down again is the weak vocal. And on this also they decided to do a few covers of other songs, and the first one is Metallica's No Remorse. It's okay, they could have picked a better track, to be quite honest. It's not a good cover. Then they did a version of Immigrant Song. Now, this is not very good. The music, great, but Anderson just cannot hit them notes like Robert Plant. There's two other people that can sing this really well. One of them being Ann Wilson from Heart. And surprisingly, the other person I've heard sing this pretty good is Jack Black when he did it in the School of Rock. It's a very hard song to sing, I think, and I mean, they're brave to try. I mean, Biff Bifford's done it, and it just doesn't ring with me, I'm afraid. Then they did a version of Judas Priest Sinner. This is a very good version. Very good version. Ramos's vocal is pretty decent on this. And they end on the track from Deep Purple, Rat Bat Blue, and that is a great cover. He doesn't even try to shriek like Mr. Gillan, and I respect to him. On the whole, it's not a bad album. I'd put it on now and again just to be a bit different sort of album to the original, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 4 is the 6th album from 2005, What's in Your Head. This is the debut album, no it's not, it's the 2nd album, and the last album from singer Nick Tart. So you got Nick Tart on vocals, Brian Tatler lead guitar, Andy Aberley again, Eddie Mahoon and Carl Wilcox. So you've got this steady lineup of the musicians, which really do sound good. This is a terrific album. I love Nick Tart's vocals on the 2 albums he done, and it's one of my favourite Diamond Head albums. First track, Skin on Skin, solid track, great riff. Nick Tart's vocal on this is fantastic. I Feel No Pain, again, solid track, nice guitars, heavy, love this track. The Planet and Me, best track on the album, great solos, great riffs, great vocal, fantastic track. Reign Supreme, another solid track, very solid top to bottom this album. Killing Me, another good track. Nick Tart's best vocal performance with Diamond Head, superb track. Tonight, solid, heavy rocker. Pray For Me, Tatler at his best. He's so underrated. He's one of the, again, he comes up with some great riffs. You know, all through his career, you know, he's come up with some super stuff. I love that track. Title track, What's in Your Head. Great driving bass line with this one. And again, Mr. Tatler's guitar work is on the top shelf. Nothing to Lose, it's okay. Calling Out, again, bit of a filler track, but okay. The last track, Victim, good track to end the album. On the whole, it's a fantastic album, solid, heavy, great vocal. So it gets an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, coming in at number 3 is the 8th album in 2019, the Coffin Train. This is actually the second and the most, what I'd call the most current album. It's the current album with the new tracks. It features, of course, Dean Ashton on bass, Carl Wilcox, solid member of the band now. Guitars, Andy Aberley and Brian Tatler again, and Ramus Anderson. As I said in the first album that Anderson done, the vocal didn't sound right. This album, they got it right. He is a good singer. I think they listen and go, "Whoa, we could have done that a little bit better." But this album, give him the due, it sounds right, and it's a great rock album. First track, Belly of the Beast, some awesome riffs and a great vocal. Really good vocal from Anderson. The Messenger, solid driving bass line, riffs galore, nice song. The Coffin Train, the title track, love the bass line in this. This has got some nice gentle guitar in it, and again a terrific vocal. I know I knocked him in the other album, but this one I can't. The vocals on this to Darwin Head are far superior. Shades of Black, oh, Mr. Wilcox, what some drumming on this. Deep, heavy, great, and the riffs round it terrific. Then we get a thing called the Sleeper Prelude. This is a nice little intro to the main event, the Sleeper. This is one of the best tracks they've ever done. It's got a really great bass line. Anderson vocals are just superb on this, and Brian Tatler is just Brian Tatler doing his stuff. Great song from the album. Death by Design, great opening lick. This is. It's in the opening lick is, and solo bit is just like, it's an Am I Evil style, but not like, it doesn't take the Am I Evil thing, but it's on that vein. And then it goes into this great song with riffs galore. Serrated Love, another dirty bass riff and some incredible effects on the guitar. Fantastic track. Phoenix, it's okay, it's not the best track on the album. Until We Burn, very solid track. Okay, a lot of people don't like this album, but I really like it, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, coming in at number 2, 5th album, Nick Tart's first appearance with the band. It's the only album to feature Rob Mills on guitar, who replaced Andy Aberley on the second part of this tour as well. But I think it's Andy Aberley that doesn't play on this. It's Adrian Mills, and it's All Will Be Revealed, released in 2006. Carl Wilcox is there, Eddie Muhan and Brian Tatler. Mine All Mine, what a track. Great heavy rocker. I love the Nick Tart era of Diamond Head. Very good singer. Wish he'd have stayed on. He was terrific on stage. Brilliant. Give It All to Me. great riffs again, great vocal. Nightmare. This is my favourite track on the album. It's terrific. Great solo and some great licks from Brian Tatler. Fantastic. Fallen Angel, solid. Alimony, great. Tatler riffs here. Great drumming, just fantastic. Lost at Sea. This is classic Diamond Head. Great riffs, great vocal from Nick Tart. It's up there with Am I Evil, that one. Love it. Broken Pieces, great guitar, lots of wah-wah, and you know I love me wah-wah. Solid track. All but will be revealed. This is the title track, of course. Slow start, but leads into a fantastic grindy guitar. Dead or Living, solid heavy rocker again, terrific stuff. Come Alive, great song. This sounds so much like an AC/DC track. I love it. It's not taking a mickey of an AC/DC song. It just sounds like an AC/DC song. And then we have a track called Muddy Waters. It's got a great riff. Bit bluesy, of course, because it's a Muddy Waters. Terrific. Great album. Great start for Nick Tart. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. So, what's number one? Well, it's pretty obvious, really. It was their debut album. Recorded in 1979. Lightning the Nations. This, of course, has got this classic lineup: Sean Harris on the vocals, Brian Tatler on guitars, Colin Kimberley on the bass, and Duncan Scott. I love this. Okay, it's raw. It's a little bit dated, I suppose, but there's nothing wrong with that, because this is an album that has influenced so many people, and it remains a classic. Obviously, it opens up with the title track, Lightning the Nations. I love the rawness on this track. It's just plug them guitars in and go. Love it. The Prince. This is a great rocker. I love the riffs. I love the solo. And as I said, the solo even sounds better on the remix. Brian Tatler really plays his heart out on this. Then we get the great Am I Evil. That finger tapping, them riffs. It's probably one of the greatest heavy metal songs ever. And for those Metallica fans, they didn't do it first, remember? Great track. It still remains one of my favourite songs, and I just love it. Sweet and Innocent. This is just hard, raw, heavy metal 1979 style. Can't get any better than that. It's electric. Great riffs again. The solo is unbelievable. And then you end up with the brilliant Helpless. Just love this rawness. Great bass line, great vocal. Okay, when I brought the CD reissue because my album was battered, and it had some of the other B-sides, which are some of the great tracks as well, like Shoot the Lights. Was a single, this one. Love the riff in this. Very early heavy metal solo. Very great song. Then we get Streets Gold, which was the B-side of Sweet and Innocent. Another corker. Hard, fast, heavy. Waited too long. It's a double A side. Remember them? It was with Play It Loud. This is a great track. Like Play It Loud. More raw metal. Diamond Lights, originally released from the Diamond Lights EP. Love the bass on this. It is heavy. And the next track again came from the Diamond Lights EP. This has got such a raw sound. It's unbelievable. Then we get I don't got, funny name for a track, but it's a great little track, great bass line and driving riffs. Okay, this is a very, very special album, always will be, I think, and it was a shame they just didn't build from this. But I still give it, it gets an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Great start to the week then, bit of Diamond Head. I've put some great tracks in the playlist for you. I've put a track in from each member, but the vocals, the best tracks. We'll be back later with a fantastic classic album show, and we have got a classic today. We're looking at Ziggy Stardust, so that'll be really good. For now, I will see you, and for some reason the weather is just getting worse here. I'll be putting the lights on soon, and it's only 10:30 in the morning. Take care for now.